the world together, now, forever. You and I have a chance to make a difference. This time, change now. Hello and welcome, beloved, to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. MumbiSeraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are moving into living life truly on your own terms. Thanks for joining us, on Africa 101. At first, I had thought Africa 101 would be about, maps and the rivers and the names and but I really do believe that it's more of a spiritual science to prepare our people. This is what I'm being led by the Spirit to do. So I really do pray that it is a blessing to your life, And one of the things is a lot of you have contacted me and said, your children watch the show, they love it. And shout out to all the children. Love you guys, our little princes and princesses. And you've explained to me how, you watch the show with the children, etc., which is why I do try and keep it PG sometimes. But one of the things I really wanted to bring to your attention is how to protect your children at such a time as this. Because when you realize that we're in a major mind control and a major psyop, and this major mind control is not even about us, but they're coming for our children. They're coming for the minds of our children to program them for the new world order, to program them for the new normal. And a lot of parents, we have been caught so unaware. Were kind of caught flat-footed when the pandemic took off and they were locked in, and now you have your children at home, etc. And so there was not that time where you could even prepare. So it's almost like your children are kind of going through your own, confusion, questioning, etc. Unless you were ready. If you were ready and you prepared your children, yes, amazing. Please leave your tips below on to help other parents. But for a lot of us, and then the children will just be with you as you're questioning and debating, and they'll feel your fear, because children don't hear what you say. They feel what you do. They reflect what you do. They look at your actions and they look at what you don't say. And that has a bigger impact on them. So you may be trying to tell them everything's all right, but they can tell the anxiety in you. And this major psyop, it was so sad because I was being told by my mother the other day that she went to she went to the village, and the children, they have masks, they have sanitizers, they don't want to talk to anyone from Nairobi because Nairobi happens to be the epicenter in Kenya. So they're like, don't come near us, city people, whatever. But it's just like when you look at it, and they have the masks in this village, when you look at it, it's just like this thing has penetrated down to that level. Now, there's other places where I went where they don't even believe, the virus is real. And so there's this whole contention that's happening in Kenya where, those that have been totally brainwashed are trying to convince the rest of us that this thing is real. But a lot of people are saying, anyway, it's a figment of many people's imagination. But the thing is, they're coming with this, what we're witnessing, especially with the way mainstream media has set themselves up and everything. It's like a global MK Ultra programming that they're putting into place, like to get us to believe that the world is a certain way, to get us to move in a certain way, to lower our immunity and our power, and by keeping us, in the lower mind of fear, anxiety, worry, and to keep us on this reactionary thing. You're in lockdown, so then you're waiting to be unlocked, and then you're told you're not in lockdown. So you're always they're guiding you like the sheep, to the slaughter. They tell you to go left, you go left. They tell you to go right, you go right. So it's really important that we shield our children from this as much as possible. Even shield them from your own confusion. Shield them from your own lack of understanding, most importantly. And so there's just 5 things that I would recommend that at least you do with your children from here on out, regardless of their age, because you're also dealing with children who have come in with very, a lot of them are old souls. So they've been here before. They're wiser than their age. That's what a lot of my friends tell me about their children. They're wiser. They know more. With the way technology and everything is happening, you can really have serious conversations with them, And the one thing to do is tell the children the truth. Make it a habit to have regular conversations about what is really happening in the world. Involve them in those conversations when you're reasoning with other adults about the genocide against our people, the vaccine agenda, the Armageddon, the biblical end times and everything. Make sure they're hearing and understanding that, but not from a place of fear, but from a place of this is what's happening, but we have something in us. We have a God gene in us, which now needs to be activated because we are creating the world to come. The second thing I would say is don't allow your children to watch the news, or at least if they are watching the news, explain to them, because the major psyop is happening through mainstream media. That repetitive thing. There's a psychologist who had done a study or report, and he talked about, when 9/11 happened, another massive psyop, that when the children kept seeing the plane hitting the buildings over and over again, some of them, because of their young minds, they couldn't figure out that it was the same event being repeated. Some was so traumatized because they thought it was a play, the building was being hit over and over again. And so you have to realize that your children have young, malleable minds, and the enemy of our soul is coming for their minds, is already trying to program them through you, through the television, through the things you have in your house, to start becoming part of their new normal. So even if they're watching the news, you have to explain it to them, and also don't allow them to daily be hearing coronavirus, coronavirus. Get them off that. Get them off that. Let that be something that if you need to consume that daily, then you do what you need to do. But don't allow your children to watch that kind of stuff. Let their minds still be in this creative, and empower them with skills. And that brings me to my next point. Train them. Get them, because now, like here in Kenya, schools have been closed for the rest of the year. So that means, a lot of schools across Africa and across the world will be teaching online. That means that for the majority of the time, your child will be with you. So now start to give them the necessary skills, make sure they're physically fit, they're getting their exercise daily, just so they can also be mentally fit, make sure that they're learning. This is such a great opportunity for you to teach them what you want to teach them. Make sure they're learning. There's different apps that now even have, African languages on them where you can teach your children Kiswahili, etc., etc. Make sure they're learning the correct history, etc. This is your time to bring your child up to speed, regardless of their age. Make sure they're engaging in creative endeavors, painting, drawing, and really, my next point is, teach them how to pray and meditate. Instill a spiritual life in your children. It is so crucial. It is so critical. And time is of the essence for that. Really, you need to start instilling in them this a prayer routine. Have a family prayer routine, where when you wake up in the morning, give thanks to the Most High, give thanks to your ancestors. Some people pour libation, some people will chant, whatever your thing is. Make sure that you're giving your children that kind of foundation, so that if the hour of need finds them and you're not near them, they know how to protect themselves, or they are in touch with their guardian angels. And have spiritual conversations with them. So when you hear your children talking about, invisible friends, etc., etc., delve deep, because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. If they are seeing things spiritually with their spiritual eye, don't tell them it's rubbish, like a lot of us were told. Don't tell them, they're seeing things, etc., etc., but cultivate those things in them, because that's their spiritual defense. And that means that you, as a parent, now need to go deeper in your spiritual life, because you have people who are totally 100% reliant on you. And finally, I think I've said this, but I really want to reiterate, involve your children in family discussions. Involve them in, things about the vaccine agenda, what your family is planning to do, what strategies are planning to do on when the mark of the beast comes out, on planting food, on relocating, to off-grid or to out of the cities. Involve them in those discussions. Don't think that they're not too young to, whatever, to understand. Because let me tell you, when the Mau Mau revolution happened in Kenya, even children were initiated. That's how serious it was. And children as young as 5 were used as spies to go into the enemy camp and hear what they were saying. So you have to arm your child. Tell the children the truth. Tell them who their enemy is. Don't hide anything from them. But also don't put them into fear. Tell the children the truth. Hey, famous Bob Marley saying. Until next time, Tuko Pamoja.